This is Noise from the Cranium. My name is Doug, and in this episode, I'm going to feature a discussion with my good friend Ian. Ian is the host of the radio show Sound Explorer, where Noise from the Cranium was originally aired. Normally, Ian features records from his collection on his show, so I turned the tables on him and pulled out a few records from my collection. Here's how it went. First order of business, Ian came up with a name for the episode. What are we going to call this one?
We'll call it Sound from the Cranium.
And off we went.
Okay, welcome to another edition of Sound from the Cranium. An exploration of my brain.
Where's the scalpel? Where's the scalpel?
Oh no, this is a combination of Ian's Sound Explorer show, where he explores his record collection, whether it's new purchases, old gems, or a theme.
Oh, you listened?
I've listened 100 times, so I've got it memorized. And my YouTube channel, also my show that Ian graciously plays on his show called Noise from the Cranium, where I do whatever the hell I want. And it works well. But what we're going to do here, normally Ian features stuff out of his collection in his weekly show, hour-long show on CFuzz in Penticton.
92.9.
You got it. And I'm going to grill him on a few things out of my collection, some of which I know he knows and we can talk about, a couple of which I'm not sure if he knows. So we'll see where it goes.
Okay, well, let's see how.
Yeah.
See what you got here.
So the first record we actually just talked about, it's my reissued copy of the Pretty Things SF Sorrow.
Yeah.
Which is autographed by Twink, which is great. So I got this at a record show in Vancouver that we were both at. Twink was there. Twink was actually at the record show.
And I remember at the time Doug buying this, and I remember him being very excited about it. But what I didn't know was much about this record, other than that it was possibly the first rock opera.
Yes.
And that it was psychedelic. So Doug bought this, and then years later, I realized that I actually had a Pretty Things record on my shelf that contained this album and then some other record. Like, it was a double record, and it has this.
Yeah.
Which is a brilliant record.
Yes.
And I have played tracks of this on my show, but I need to get a much better copy because I realize that it's a bit thrashed.
Right.
But very good.
Yes. And I mean, following this, now, this was, Phil May, Dick Taylor, the guys from the band, they kind of carried on afterwards, and then Twink was in and out. He was shortly in this band. He moved on to an album that he did called Think Pink by Twink. You know, there's something going on there. I'm not exactly sure what he was thinking, but he did that with Mick Farron from the Deviants and Paul Rudolph, who then Twink and Paul Rudolph went on to form the Pink Fairies.
Right.
And I featured Paul Rudolph in a previous show.
Seashells whistle, let you ride, drift away. Seashells whistle, let yourself hide away. Memories are looking so small, images of light disappearing. Now in the sound space turning around, like the lips of command. Turning the heart, you're playing the part. Courage it is so demanding. Loud rocks and bands, marching through land. Life that you had is near.
Now, completely different direction.
Okay.
Here's a record. The International Submarine Band.
Oh, I am familiar with this record. This is Graham Parsons, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
I have never heard this.
One of his first forays, probably pre-joining the Byrds,
Yep.
pre-solo. It was in the mid-'60s, something like that. Nobody was ready for country rock.
Yeah, I can see
It's a
that.
very country record. And Graham was a trailblazer for country rock.
Okay. I know of this record. It's on my want list, but I don't know if I've ever even seen it.
Huh.
So this is a lovely, Doug and I were talking earlier about Sundazed Records. Excellent reissue label.
The things they're putting out are just making both of us very happy. Old guys. Well, myself anyway.
Fantastic.
An old guy and a not quite so old guy.
Well, pretty old.
So yeah, it's what can I say? A Lee Hazelwood production. Look at that. So you know where that's coming from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got credits on the back from Glenn Campbell, Dwayne Eddy, and Don Everly are all talking about this thing. But it did nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It sunk to nowhere land. Yeah.
Yeah, I think hippies making country music, they were just a little too early.
Yes.
Because the Byrds, when he joined the Byrds, they basically were doing that.
And then, I think Roger McGuinn felt he was trying to take over the band and kind of kicked him out of the band and stripped his tracks off of that record and that he was on, and which is a shame. Then he started hanging out with Keith Richards, who loved him, and he was in, I think, France when they were recording maybe Sticky Fingers or something. He was right in there.
Well, the luxury liner, 40 tons of steel. If I don't find my baby now, then I guess I never will. I've been a long lost soul for a long, long time. I've been around. Everybody ought to know what's on my mind. You think I'm lonesome, so do I, so do I.
Now, I don't know if Ian knows this one. It is Captain Beyond, their first record.
Okay. You have talked about Captain Beyond, and I do know a little bit about Captain Beyond. And
Okay.
I think you've showed me the second record, which has a very groovy sleeve, doesn't it?
Yes.
Doesn't it have like all fancy tinfoily or something? But what I do know about this is it has ex-Deep Purple singer Rod Evans.
This is the second album.
Yes.
Sufficiently Breathless.
That's one of... Oh, is there not another one?
There is another one, but Rod Evans is not on the other one.
Ah, okay.
The third one is Dawn Explosion.
Oh, okay.
There.
This is
So-
different than what I was thinking. That's a slightly hilarious cover.
Yes.
This one is a pretty groovy cover, and
Yeah.
this one is just crazy. I love it. That's fantastic.
Great.
So Rod Evans
Yes.
from Deep Purple.
And I gotta say, those first three Deep Purple albums with Rod Evans and Nick Simper are probably my favorite Deep Purple albums. They're so psychedelic, great, and I loved Rod Evans' voice during that period, and I loved the style of music they were playing. And I love later Deep Purple as well, but I got a special place for those three. And that's why I went to Captain Beyond, following Rod.
Okay, and it has a fellow on here playing lead guitar whose name is Rhino.
Yes.
That's an awesome name.
Rhino ended up in Iron Butterfly.
Okay, so
After
of these three, your favorite would be the
The
first
first one, absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Is it psychedelic? Is it proggy?
It's actually called stoner rock.
Oh.
So it's psychedelic, but sort of heavier as well, right?
Okay.
But
Is it related to sort of the stoner metal of current day?
no?
Okay.
It's probably the grandfather of though.
Okay.
That was the start kind of stoner rock. Kind of your Iron Butterfly might be considered in their later period. Heavier psychedelic.
Okay.
Is a good kind of way to frame it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dancing manly backwards, dancing on the sea, racing on my memories, practicing my dreams. Tiptoe quickly, forget about your care, and remember underneath you, it's just the sea of air. Just remember underneath you, hey, just the sea of air.
Now,
All right. I'm excited.
Here are two albums by the same artist, and they could not be more different. We got Safe as Milk and Trout Mask Replica.
Okay.
Captain, the good Captain, Captain Beefheart.
Okay, I own both these. This one has Ry Cooder on it.
Yes.
And Abba Zaba Zigzag Wanderer. Oh man, this is Electricity. Oh yeah.
I love that album.
This is a fantastic record.
Yes.
Super fun to listen to. Really, really great. This one is a really cool record, but man, is it hard to listen to.
My smile is stuck. I cannot go back to your frown land. My spirit's made up of the ocean and the sky and the sun and the moon and all I can see.
And this came out in '69.
Oh, okay, so that early. Okay. Yeah,
And
this
that
is
originally came out on Zappa Straight Records. Yeah.
yeah. This is a mind-blowing artifact.
Yes.
I haven't listened to it in ages, but I should.
It is a difficult listen, and the story behind it is very difficult to
Very
listen to as well.
strange
How
cats here.
the captain was so controlling. And I've read the drummer, John French, I've read his book where he talks about how cruel mentally Captain Beefheart was to his musicians and how he was quite abusive. But out of that came this amazing record that became influential to so many people across the board. Bands like XTC go back and say, wow, you know. And actually there's a tribute CD that came out with the guys from XTC doing a song, a whole bunch of other people as well. But it's
a challenging listen.
yeah, very, very deep.
Yeah, I would say that of my Captain, I have a lot of Captain Beefheart, as you do, too. I would say that probably my favorite Captain Beefheart album would be, I think I got the name right, Docket Radar Station.
Oh yes, okay, that was a later one.
That was a later one.
80 perhaps?
Yeah, it was sort of
9?
came out around the sort of new wave
Yes, yeah,
period. A friend of mine bought it back when it came out, and I just remember it being so strangely angular.
Yes, yeah.
Like that was my starting point with Captain Beefheart. Going backwards, you realize that whole angular thing just carries on right from like day one.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, that's not.
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, this guy's really on the, of the moment.
Yeah.
Back when Docket Radar Station came out.
Right.
But no, the moment caught up to him. Like, because, bands like XTC and other bands, there's a lot of post-punk bands and things that were very Angular Gang of Four, stuff like that.
Right.
And, Captain Beefheart.
Yeah,
End of
well,
its
Docket,
time.
the radar station, had some great songs. Didn't it have that a carrot is as close as a rabbit gets to a diamond? That was on there, I think.
Yeah,
And
and
some
then,
other bizarre... you used me like an ashtray heart.
heart.
Yes.
Keys to the pumps, right from the start.
You used me like an ashtray heart. Keys to the pumps right from the start.
Very interesting stuff. Yeah, not for the faint of heart.
Yes. 2 records my wife hates.
Perfect. Throw in a little Gentle Giant and you got an evening.
Oh, man. Running for the hills. Maybe some Bob Dylan.
Well, that was fun. This has been Noise from the Cranium. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
In a girdle. Use me like an ashtray heart. Right from the start. Case of the punks.